They went to a castle to save their marriages, and this week one man packed his suitcase and changed rooms at a retreat designed to bring them together, and he moved out. Welcome back to Reality Recaps Unfiltered. I'm Ruby, and if you're here, you already know this show is not a vacation. The last resort couples are on the literal edge of divorce, locked in a castle in England, forced into having conversations they've spent years avoiding. So when they say something, they truly mean it. Season 3, Episode 3 is titled How to Make It Last, and the irony of that title is doing numbers this week. We've got Guillermo walking out on Kara over what she sells online. Paola telling Russ it's exhausting to be married to him. A sex therapy session that asked if Patrick is an addict. And Sumit dropping a confession that left Jenny stunned. Let's get into it. I have to start with Kara and Guillermo because this is the fault line the whole season is built on. There was a royal banquet in this episode, themed of respect and etiquette, which foreshadowing, and Kara mentioned that her content prices went up, that she's making more money. And when she asked Guillermo point blank if he'd support her continuing to post, he gave her an answer that wasn't an answer really. It was unsure. It was vague. And then in his confessional, Guillermo definitely stopped being vague. He said, and I'm quoting, "We have trust problems, obviously, and this is why. I don't want her to be selling those kinds of pictures online. The stuff she's selling now goes way beyond just nudity." And then he brought up their son. How embarrassed will the boy be one day? Kara just needs to stop. Okay, now, Kara did not fold. Kara stood in it. She said that this is how she provides for her son, a son who is with her 6 nights a week. She said Guillermo hasn't given her $1, that she hasn't asked him for a single dollar since they separated over a year ago. Not $1. And it escalated because Guillermo could not let it go. After the banquet, he said he couldn't stop thinking about what Kara does online, that he couldn't stay under the same roof, and he packed his suitcase and moved into a different room. When she told him he was hurting, he called it his words. He called bullshit, he said. You joke about it. You don't care. Let's be real. He accused her of really posting all of this content to fund her music career. And Kara said something that stuck with me. "I want you to see me for who I am. I didn't do this for fun." And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The whole marriage in one sentence. Now, let me be fair, because I've always tried to be fair. Guillermo's discomfort is not invented. A co-parent has a standing to have feelings about this, about their child, about their shared time. That's real. But there's a raise of concern, and there is a way to shame a woman and pack a bag. He picked shame. And he picked it while she was keeping the lights on for their kid. Kara's not asking him to love the work. She's asking him to see her. And so far, he's only looking at the camera roll. This one's going to define the season. Mark it. Remember these words. Russ and Paola. Oh, Lordy Lord, Russ and Paola. Paola announced publicly to the group that she pays for Russ's massages, and Russ said he felt disrespected being put on blast like that. Even Patrick jumped in and accused Paola of belittling Russ in front of everyone. And here's Paola's whole thing this episode. She is exhausted. She works. She makes the money. Russ stays home with their son, and she resents being what she calls the alpha male. She fired back, and she fired back at Patrick with a line I have to give her, honestly. Patrick is looking at me like a gold digger. Really? I mean, where's the gold to dig? Not a lie, girl. You are not lying. But then, the next morning, she yelled at Russ for waking her up by going to the gym and told him flat out, it's exhausting being married to you, asking him to book another room. The therapist, Dr. Tyrone, stepped in and actually did good work. He told Russ he's trying, but not in the right way, and gave him real actionable steps. Be more aware, gentler, and Paola apologized for being rude. And Russ cried about wanting to provide for her again, to earn her respect back. That's the version of this couple that I'm rooting for. The crying, honest one, not the leaderboard. Now, the sex therapy session, because the show puts everyone in a room and asked questions and chaos was the result. Patrick and Thaís. Thaís looked at the therapist and asked her if her husband is a sex addict. She said Patrick wants it every day, several times a day, and she's wondering if that's normal or if there's something going on. The therapist wasn't sure. Patrick described himself as kinky and dynamic. Thaís described herself as traditional and consistent. And we learned Patrick had a sex swing in his room when they first met. Of course there was a sex swing in his room. Of course. Jenny and Sumit both confess they're not kinky. And Sumit dropped something in that session that left Jenny visibly stunned. After all these years, this woman is still getting surprised. The comic relief saved it. Jenny's celebrity crush is a young Tom Hanks. Sumit is Rika, a Bollywood actress, and Shekinah declared Sumit seemed to be a freak, while Sarper said he's giving pervert vibes. The whole room turned into a courtroom, and nobody was innocent, ladies and gentlemen. And on the side benches, we have Sarper admitting that his crush involved Sharon Stone, and Shekinah went with an older John Travolta. Zied said Britney Spears, and Rebecca, bless her heart, said John Schneider. Rebecca also called Sarper a disgusting pig for ogling at Kara's photos, which, given everything, it's tracked. Like, you can track it. 6 couples, 1 therapy room, 0 shame left in the building. All right, let me land this. A suitcase packed for a retreat. A wife keeping the lights on and getting shamed for it. A husband crying to earn back respect. And sex therapy that turned into a confessional booth nobody walked out clean from. How to make it last. The episode spent 1 hour. How easily it doesn't. And that is exactly why we cover this show. Patreon link is in the description below. $5 a month gets you in the door to early access, bonus content, the full conversations. $10 is a super fan tier, and $25 is executive producer. You also get your name in the credits, so don't be shy, folks. Drop in the comments your opinion on this. Does Guillermo have a real point about their son, or did he lose it the second he packed that bag? Because honestly, I can argue both, and I want to know your opinion. And let's not forget, I read everything. Thanks for listening.